Hello, my name is Diogo and I'm here today to talk about bats, birds, and ecosystem service in cacao plantations. You may be wondering why cacao, but we all know the answer. Chocolate is good and make us feel happy. But it's not only that, of course. Cacao had a global expansion of more than 50% since the last decade. It represents an amazing 87 billion euros annually in global trade, and although most of cacao comes from Africa, 70%, no study so far focused on this group and their ecosystem service in this part of the world. Also, in this area of the world, in Africa, the brown cap seed is the main cacao pest, and it can cause losses of more than 400,000 million euros annually. We know from other areas of the world that bats and birds can be the answer to this problem. In Indonesia, they save farmers in cacao plantations an amazing 621 euros per hectare annually. In our study area in Cameroon, we found the brown capsid, the main pest, in a diet of 6 bird species and in a diet of 12 bird species. With all of this in mind, we decide then to quantify the effects of birds and bats on cacao production. Mainly, we want to see what is happening to the pest and arthropod abundance, to the pest damage and disease, and to cacao yield. So to answer these objectives, we select 8 farms spread across Cameroon, mostly in central Cameroon, and we start building a cage around cacao trees to block the access of bats and birds. In the end, we had 2 of these exclosures, as you can see in the GIF, in each farm, and we had 2 controls where bats and birds can feed freely on the insects and on the pests that are present in the trees. Then, Alan, our entomologist, went to these farms once per month to quantify the arthropod populations, count number of pods, flowers, measure the herbivory and the post-pod damage. After collecting all this data, we end up doing a general linear mix model to see how these variables would respond to the presence and absence of bats and birds. So we found out that Phytophagous arthropods were less abundant in controls, meaning that when bats and birds are present, the population of these insects decreases. And here we can see that Hemiptera, one of the main Phytophagous arthropods in our cacao farms, had a significant difference, being more abundant in exclosures, and the same is also true for mealybugs. That is a secondary pest that causes losses also of hundreds of millions in cacao farms across the world. The problem was that we also found the same patterns for Arachnidia and Montodia, meaning that predatory arthropods also decrease in abundance when bats and birds are present. The same was true, unfortunately, for potential pollinators like the order Diptera. We also found less insects of this order in controls, meaning that although bats and birds are doing a service by reducing the Phytophagous arthropod abundance, they are doing a disservice by decreasing the potential pollinators and the predatory arthropods. And the question now is, do these service outweigh the disservice that bats and birds are doing in cacao plantations? And the question to this is yes. Although the number of flowers did not change between controls and exclosures, the number of pods was always higher in controls versus exclosures. In the end, we had almost more 30% of big and medium pods, the ones that can be harvested, in controls when compared with exclosures. So this means that bats and birds are potentially increasing the number of pods through pest consumption. And now what we want to know is if this consumption, if this increasing number of pods correlates with the pod damage and or herbivory. And then we want to translate this increasing number of pods to money. So basically we want to put the price on the menu. And for that we need to still quantify how much of the weight of the dry beans, basically this thing that is sold that is inside of the pods. We hope that after collecting all the pods and dry out the weight, we be able to put a price on menu and quantify the effect of bats and birds on cacao production. I want to thank you for listening to me. I want to thank you especially to the amazing team that was with me in the field, and especially to Alan, that it was the entomologist that spent the 12 months doing the arthropod monitoring. Without him, nothing of this would be possible. Thank you so much, and feel free to ask anything.